The best salespeople in the world are the ones who do it without you even noticing. Everyone's a salesperson, especially if you're an entrepreneur. In the I'm Not Salesy podcast, join me, Cassie McKenzie, and my fabulous guests as we dive into the top strategies, mindset, and energetics around sales and money so that you can hear more "yes, I'm in" instead of crickets or getting ghosted. So if you're ready to fully book out your programs with aligned AF clients and have people chasing you down in your inbox asking how to work with you, then subscribe to this podcast today and become not salesy too. Hey, welcome back to the I'm Not Salesy podcast. I'm Cassie McKenzie, your big sales and breathwork coach. I'm excited to be bringing you this series on this podcast. There was an event that I hosted in my private group on Facebook, aptly called Big Sales and Breathwork. And I brought in guest experts on sales strategy as well as energetics and nervous system regulation and mindset and, scaling your business, hypnosis. We did all sorts of really fun topics. And I want to bring you the inside track on all of these interviews that I did over the course of a week and share them with you because this is literally the future of where sales is going. Sales is less about an extra 3-step process and a template or a script, and it's about who you are and who you're being, that expansion you're feeling or the contraction you're feeling when you take that action. And I can't even say with enough emphasis how important it is to be focused on your energetics and applying the strategy when you are in like a really great place energetically. And when I say energetically, I mean with your literally your body, your nervous system, your fight, or whether you're in fight or flight or whether you're like too calm. There's so many ways for us to take action. And sometimes you can take a fear-based action and you can go do that sales call because your back feels against the wall and you enter it in this anxious kind of like desperate frame, or you may be energized and feel like your back's against the wall, but yet you're like, damn it, this is enough. I am taking my power back and I am going into this situation with like a winner's like energy, right? Like with like the power of 1,000 freaking horses. I don't know where that came from, but so that's why as a sales coach, my coaching is going less with less impact on specific strategy, and more on allowing you to achieve this neutral place in your energy where you aren't too calm and too, like, oh, well, who cares? Whatever happens, and I don't really feel that energized, or maybe you're feeling a little depressed, or maybe you're just like bored, right? We don't want to do sales from that space, but we also, because apathy is going to kill sales, but we also don't want to be stressed out, anxious, and desperate and feeling in this like panic mode every time you go to sell. All right. And that's why I'm adding breath work, specifically my big sales breath work. It is so powerful for helping you connect with your intuition and helping you to connect with your, like that inner part inside of you that is begging for you to take action and wants to tell you exactly the right kind of action to take, but maybe your subconscious mind is telling you it's not safe. So what we're doing in my big sales breathwork sessions is we are taking you as a person and we're putting you into this state where you're able to see where your subconscious is holding you back and scrub that from the deck, and then create a new vision and pathway with actual action steps that you walk out of it, and with a calm state of mind, right? Where you are actually it's like kind of a neutral. We're bringing you back to neutral, where you are just naturally excited to move forward with this squeaky clean free energy instead of moving forward from a place of anxiety and panic or from a place of boredom and apathy or just a little dull. I know I've been there. So, with that, this is what the Business Manifestival was all about. This is where I'm like bringing you all of these experts that are going to help explain what I just explained to you in several different ways so that you can build the most abundant and prosperous business possible. Because you have to think about the foundation that you're making these sales from. And if you're scaling from 6 figures into 7 figures and from 7 figures into 8 figures, any kind of weird feelings that your feelings are feeling are just going to get magnified. And things that you thought were big problems in the past are going to seem tiny as you're handling more big business issues. And so we want you to be able, and I specifically want you to be able to tackle those big business issues in the most powerful freaking way possible so that you can get back to serving your clients and serving your customers and doing your business in a way that feels fun and easy and light instead of feeling like the weight of the world on your shoulders. All right. So this is the introduction to the Business Manifestival and the series that you're going to be hearing in the coming weeks. I have such amazing speakers. Some have come back for a second time. So if you've been following this podcast for a while, then you're going to notice that there are some faces that are familiar. And we're going to dive even deeper into some topics that we scratched the surface on previous episodes. So if you're curious about how to use hypnosis to make more sales, for example, then you're going to have something there. And if you're curious about how to use a $17 offer to make 6 figures in sales, you're also going to have this at your fingertips too. So I'm super excited, and I wanted to create this episode specifically to remind you about how much power you have and exactly how far you can go when you are 100% backing yourself and in your energy. And when you become attuned to how your body's feeling as you're taking action. Like, for example, yesterday, I was listening to one of my mentors, Leva Riff and Voxer. And as I was listening to her, consciously, I understood what she was saying. I'd heard it a million times before from other videos or other trainings and things, even from her. But the difference was in the past, I had just passively listened to it and I hadn't paid attention to how I was feeling. And so yesterday, I was driving to my son's field trip. And as I was driving there, I was listening to this riff. And as I listened to the riff, I noticed something interesting happen. She was talking about this huge, expansive topic, basically about how you can create this limitless wealth and how I could specifically move through an issue that I had been having. And as I listened to her and I listened to the advice she was giving and the coaching she was giving, I literally felt my arms start itching. I felt like my shoulder and the back, like my upper back started to contract and it started to feel like uncomfortable, like almost like somebody was taking my body and balling it up like a piece of paper. And so as I noticed that, I was like, wow, that's interesting. What's happening here? And then I noticed that my breath was getting shallower and that it was almost like I wasn't having a panic attack, but I was having like a mini on your way to a panic attack. And like, I'm actually itching myself now, like talking about it. And like the discomfort, the wanting to just rip this off of you is, you're just like, you become so uncomfortable in your own skin in that moment, even though, and this is what was happening to me, even though what I was listening to consciously was like super enlightening. It was really expansive. But my conscious brain, right? Like the one you're normally thinking about and saying like, okay, I gotta go eat breakfast. Here, I'm gonna make this kind of food and whatever. I'm gonna go walk the dog and use this leash to go walk the dog. I'm gonna go to bed this time and blah, blah, blah. Like your conscious brain is listening actively. But like my subconscious, the one that got control over my nervous system, which how my muscles are contracting, how my body's closing off, the breathing that I'm doing, all of that was contracting like a mofo. And I even like I can feel some of it coming back now because your subconscious brain is patterned certain ways. And it's that old part of you that goes back to caveman times that was there to keep us safe, to create this panic button inside so that we would automatically know when we're in an unsafe situation and be able to run away from the herd of mammoths or saber-toothed tigers that were about to like rip our faces off, right? Back then. And that part of your brain, though, isn't necessary in your daily life and in business. And the problem with sales and that part of your brain, and money and that part of your brain, and expansion in that part of your brain, is that it's been trained for so long and we've just let it go on the same way. You've just allowed whatever patterns of your subconscious to go on over and over and over and over again for so long that it's created this like normality, right? This normal. And our job with this nervous system work and with breath work, specifically big sales breath work, is to repattern your, to like reprogram your mind so that we can repattern your body. And so that when you're listening to a training or you're working with your coach or you're going to a sales call or you're going to create a launch plan, that your body doesn't stop you and make you freeze and procrastinate or get into analysis paralysis or wonder, is this going to be worth it? Or get into that fear of failure. Like there's all of these fears stored into the back of your mind that trigger this response physiologically in your body. And so while you may be saying, I want to have my biggest launch ever, I want to go sell this service and create $1 million business, there's this part of stored memories and emotions in your subconscious because it's been telling you what's safe and what's not safe and silently guiding you into success or failure in many different ways in your business and in your life, your whole life. But if it's been doing this without a leash on, then it's going to keep doing that for you. And what I noticed was in that moment as I was driving, I was feeling that contraction and I thought, oh my God, that's really, really interesting. Why is this happening? And I started to notice like my skin was itching. I was getting uncomfortable. I was starting to tighten up. And it dawned on me like, oh my God, this is my subconscious trying to keep me safe. It doesn't want me listening to this riff from my mentor. It wants me to stop what I'm doing and go back and worry about, the credit card bill that's due next month. Because last month, I'll be honest, we had a crazy big spending month because unexpectedly our air conditioner had to be replaced and we live in Florida and that's like it was like about $9,500 and that was like completely unexpected. And we planned our trip to Greece, which was expected, sort of. It was kind of spur of the moment, but we were excited to go. And that's a fun thing. And then also, there was like a recurring thing that hit with one of my mentors that was a little bit big. But overall, we like, on the credit card, there's a whole lot more there than was before. So I think my brain, and I'm all about transparency here because I don't want you to feel like you're alone in any of this. Like, don't let social media make you think that people who seem like they're doing great and they're like big leaders can have problems too and can have these same kind of fears come up, right? So I want to help you understand how I walked myself through it. And in this moment, I said to myself, okay, I see where this is coming from. This is interesting. And I leaned into it. I allowed myself, instead of fighting the discomfort, I allowed myself to feel it all, to feel that discomfort come and to allow it through and to see what the magnitude of it was. Because it was like I was, I don't know what kind of metaphor to give you about it, but, it's like you're like a snake almost, that like an anaconda that comes and like tries to squeeze you, but eventually it just gets tired. I mean, I don't know if anacondas eventually get tired, so let's not go with that episode, or that example. But like, it's just like eventually it gets tired and then stops. And so, like, if you think of like a muscle when it's cramping, like your muscle cramps and eventually the cramp goes away. And there's things like you might be called to do with your hands to like massage the cramp. And that's what I was called to do. Like, I naturally, my hand wanted to go like self-soothe. And I started telling myself, like, I'm actually, thank you. Thank you for trying to keep me safe, but I'm actually good. I'm actually good. And I started doing this thing I learned from my friend Andrea, who is my acupuncturist and a holistic health coach. I'm going to have her on the podcast too. But I started to do this thing she calls the butterfly, where you put your hands in an X, like in front of your body, or, your arms, kind of like bend at your, I'm trying to tell you this. So imagine you put your arms out in front of you and then bend at the elbows so that your hands touch your shoulders. And then switch shoulders with your hands so like you've kind of made an X over top of your chest. And then you just pat you pat your shoulder one at a time. Can you hear me? Like that? You might be able to hear it. And so you just like pat your arms, kind of go like left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. It's called the butterfly. And it helps you to calm yourself. And you say, I'm okay. I'm actually good. I'm actually good. I'm good. I'm actually really good. Because what I couldn't do is go from stressed out nervous system to, oh, I'm going to make $1 million, because that's just going to trigger it even more. What you have to do is get yourself back to this neutral state and then focus on what you want instead. And I can actually already feel the tightness loosening. So if you're not driving, because I was stopped at a stoplight for a long time. That happened to be when I was able to do the butterfly. I was not doing that and driving. But, and it's not like the butterfly, that's old. Let me see the Tootsie Roll. No, different type of butterfly here. But what I was able to do is calm myself back to that like neutral space. And then I was like, yeah, I'm actually okay. Like, I don't need to worry about paying that bill. Excuse me, until, see, I'm moving energy. I'm like, I don't need to worry about paying that bill until next month when it's due. Like, because what a lot of people do is they focus on where they are now in this now moment, but then project out into the future and bring that anxiety that whole way back to the now moment. And sure, I could sit in anxiety for the next month till my next bill's due, but that's not going to help me be in the state to create anything grand in my business for the next 30 days. So worrying makes me lose money in a big way. So I want to give you this exercise so that you can try it out for yourself in these moments. It's just a taste of the type of work that we do together when we work together. And I want to share it with you if there's, in a stressful situation And especially in sales, sales is stressful. And sales is not about the three-step strategy. Sales is about you. It's all about, it starts with you and how you're feeling, and you and where your mind is and what your mind's doing to your body, where it's contracting you. And you can't create an abundant group of sales or an amount of sales when you're starting from a place of lack. Can you hear my dog? She does this like right now. And I just realized when I was doing that exercise that I think she was scratching herself. So welcome to the I'm Not Salesy podcast. Everything is real and raw here. Alrighty, well, this is going to be the vibe. And when you listen to the episodes in the I'm in from the Business Manifestival that are going to be following in the following weeks, there are a lot of them. So you know we're going to be diving into so many fun topics, and this is going to be a lot of the focus, your energetics and your strategy. But we're going to start with your energetics every single time, because that's where people skip. That's where you end up skipping through. And also, let's face it, once you get to the seven-figure business and you're scaling even multiple six, from six to multiple six and into seven, you don't need so much help with strategy. The strategy doesn't really change that much. What you need the help with is your healing and your energetics. And that's where I'm here to help you. So have a great day. Be sure to tell your friends about this podcast so that we can share it with more like-minded people like you. And I wish you the best sales week. I look forward to hearing from you. And if you got anything from this episode, I want you to tag me on Instagram at XOCassieMcKenzie and tell me what you took away from it. I hope you're having a great day and talk with you next week.